Here with me now to discuss the rescissions package is the Executive Vice President at the National Taxpayers Union, Brandon Arnold. Brandon, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Emily.
Why do you think Congress is so unwilling to have these rescissions be permanent?
Yeah, Congress doesn't like to cut spending. They love to spend money, but cutting spending has always been a difficult task for Congress here. And this is pretty low-hanging fruit that we're talking about. First of all, the size of the package. As you note, it's only about $9.4 billion. A lot of money to you or me, but in the grand scheme of things, this is about 0.14% of the federal budget. So a teeny tiny cut in the grand scheme of things for the federal government. And it's low-hanging fruit in that it's really wasteful spending. We shouldn't be subsidizing Sesame Street in Iraq or funding cultural heritage projects in the Sudan. This just doesn't make sense under any ideological viewpoint here, whether you're on the left, the right, the center, whatever. We shouldn't be doing this stuff. So it ought to be an easy vote. But of course, when you're talking about cutting spending, nothing is easy in Washington.
Yeah, and we're seeing that with the one big, beautiful bill that's obviously having a hard time getting passed in the Senate right now as well. I believe that this $9.4 billion package is just simply part one, that there would be additional rescissions packages that would come in the future. But as part of this first one, the USAID cuts are included. Can you walk us through how this package is going to benefit the American taxpayers? What is actually included that is going to be beneficial?
Yeah, I mean, USAID, they have a long history of spending all sorts of money on DEI, woke spending across the globe. This is not in the American interest. We're promoting all sorts of LGBTQ projects across the globe. We're funding voting ID in Haiti. I mentioned Iraqi Sesame Street. This is just ridiculous spending. If they want to do that stuff, they can do it with their own money. They should not be using American dollars here. So this unwinds billions of dollars that are being wasted across the globe. Also reins in the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, which is a fine institution, but not one that should be supported with public dollars, because it certainly has a leftward lean in its ideology. So this is, again, no-brainer type votes here. And it's ridiculous that they're putting up any kind of fight on the left or the right on Capitol Hill. This should be a slam dunk, easy vote, and let's, as you say, move along to bigger, more substantive types of spending to get the federal budget under control.
Yeah, you would think it would be a slam dunk, but politicians usually try to swat the ball out of the way. You know, DOJ has addressed many instances of wasteful spending. I mean, we just addressed a couple of them right there. If the rescissions package doesn't pass, do you see the spending on useless projects going back to where they were?
You know, that's going to be a really interesting question, because I think this administration obviously wants to get rid of those ridiculous spending items. The ability to do so, there's certainly some constitutional issues that are going to enter the conversation. Hopefully we won't get to that point. Hopefully Congress and the president can work together to enact laws that roll back unnecessary spending. If Congress can't do that, first of all, it's just embarrassing if Congress can't pass a $9.4 billion spending package when we're going to run a $2 trillion annual deficit this year. But if they can't, then the administration is certainly going to take steps in order to scale back some of this spending. And there will be a lot of lawsuits, and it's not clear how those will play out. It's not clear if we'll actually achieve those savings. This is the surest, safest, and most constitutionally sound way to reduce spending. And it should be, like I said, a no-brainer.
Well, walk us through a little bit further about what happens if the rescissions package is not passed. You brought up lawsuits. What does that look like?
Yeah, if the administration tries to reduce spending on its own by using something called impoundment, there will certainly be lawsuits against them. It's unclear as to actually who has the power to cut spending that has already been allocated through the statutory process. So Congress, the president, sign laws, agree to spend money in certain ways. If the president decides not to actually expend those funds, then it's unclear exactly how that would be resolved. That's why I'd rather keep this question out of the courts. We don't know how the courts will resolve issues like that. What we do know is that if Congress sends this rescissions package to the Congress, as it has already done, if the House and Senate both pass it, then that's $9.4 billion off the books. Let's move on. Let's have a $100 billion package next time and keep cutting away wasteful spending and getting this budget under control.
Absolutely. Well, Brandon, Arnold, budget cuts, spending gets a little complicated sometimes, so I really appreciate you sharing your insight with us. Thanks for coming on the show.
My pleasure. Thank you.